Alright, the Brotherhood of the Snake. Basically, the whole teachings in itself, rituals and everything, started right after the flood, because it was basically a thanks to the reptile god Satan for saving Noah and mankind. Please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not a Satanist or a Satan follower. I am just telling you how it is and how it happened. So as the wheel of time passed, mankind was basically at war with itself. The gods were at war with themselves. The Nubians, the Nubians and Hopis together were together on the land, but they were at war with the Chaldeans, who were basically descendants of, well, the Chaldean descendants, but the Chaldeans, the 8 original Chaldean beings that came down here, were apparently still in operation because of reincarnation. Now again, I'm not trying to get magical on anyone, but reincarnation is a real thing. I'm just gonna go on this off topic real quick, but when you die, your body turns to your components break down into gaseous form, your ether form, whatever you want to call it, your spirit. When you die, you are very powerful. You can do whatever you like. You cannot really interact with the regular world, but you can go anywhere you like, be anywhere you like. Again, I have no idea. I've never died, obviously, or I wouldn't be here with you. But according to many mythologies, a good study of the human body, our solar system, gases, and how they operate. My best knowledge of the subject would be as we can move around and do different things when we are dead. We can't so much basically interact with the human world without lowering our vibrational frequency and a human raising their vibrational frequency. Then we would be able to communicate with each other. But again, that's a whole different science in its own. As a part of reincarnation is very real. You can go and steal another person's lifeline, but it's a very evil practice. Again, I'll get into later on when I talk about telekinesis. We're going to talk about how they did have cloning methods in earlier times, and how that is one way of a safeguard of reincarnation. And then you have another point where you can basically enter a person demonically and steal their lifeline. Some people have it in schizophrenia, some boom, a drastic change right away. But nevertheless, this does exist and even can occur in pregnant women. Again, if you have questions on it, I'd be glad to answer them. So getting back to this, these are eight original Chaldean beings, or that situated in Chaldea. They were able to reincarnate themselves into their descendants, basically, so they were able to always obtain leadership. And apparently, even, I'm not going to be quoted on this, but there are myths that even up to today, there's the kingdom of Agrabah, which would break up into 8 different sections, is apparently run by 8 of these beings. Anyway, so getting into this, the story, you have your reptile leader who is called Satan or whatever. Again, that could just be a title. I don't know if it's a name. His plans were to disembalance the truth and knowledge after the flood. He took advantage of this flood happening to basically control the world. Look at it as though a bunch of politicians are all politicking over the world, basically, and one of them has a knowledge that something's going to happen, so he basically tells the rest of the politicians that he's going out to let every mankind and everybody know about it, but instead he just decides to tell one person and politically maneuvers all the rest of the other political figures into being trapped into a sort of way where they too will be affected and by the flood or whatever great thing was going to happen. So this being said, this is what happened. Satan somehow maneuvered his way into power, and through this he basically used knowledge as a way of power. Okay, so at this point in time, the original Chaldeans controlled their part of the land, and the Canaanite bloodline controlled more of a bigger set of the land, and they were under the leadership of reptiles. Well, not really leadership, but under the follow of basically a paganistic lifestyle, but trying to follow a god-like way. This is before the Bible and stuff like this came out for people to have an actual based religion to believe in. Before it was paganism, it wasn't all crazy. It was still basically an early form of religion and rules to keep people in line under their faction. Anyways, so the original Chaldean beings at this point made an alliance with the reptilian leaders, who are basically the Canaanites, who are unaware, and wars often still happen between the Chaldeans, or which would descend down into basically Muslims against Canaanite bloodlines. This had happened all through the ages, even up until today. This was allowed to happen between the two leaders. The two leaders basically staged these wars. The Chaldeans and the reptiles staged these wars against their descendants. Basically, remember the Canaanites aren't a descendancy line of reptiles. They're like a slavery to the reptiles, just don't really know about it. And your Arabs, Muslims, whatever, are basically descendants of even Spanish people. All a wide variety of people on the planet Earth, including myself, are a descendancy of the original Chaldeans and the Nubian mix. So now you have to remember, these Chaldeans originals didn't really care about their descendancy. They just basically needed them as an army to grow and keep their kingdoms strong. So all this in mind, you know, we have to know that even though two groups are fighting against each other, doesn't mean that the two top levels aren't together making this happen for a specific reason. And again, we see in the year 2000, 2007 now, that it's quite possible that two groups are working together to manipulate the thoughts of people into bringing their laws together, or whatever they might have. So the Brotherhood of the Snake was started to divide the sheep from the shepherds. In other words, divide the religious believers, the pagans. The religious believers being the sheep, who would follow blindly in later years, and the shepherds, the pagans, who would control them. Also, without really knowing, just knowing the answers, not really knowing how it got there. So just because I use the word pagans doesn't mean I'm referring to atheists or anything like that. I'm specifically talking about people who had the answers but didn't know how to get there. Basically the elite bloodlines. Also, confusion would later stir up a battle between good and evil, the church being religion, being the good, and pagans being bad. Either way, you followed Satan's law, just many people didn't realize it. So Satan started the brotherhoods to give advanced knowledge to the pagans, or under the Canaanite bloodline, while the 8 original Chaldeans taught knowledge to their top bloodlines.